is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Are you looking for a podcast about pro football that doesn't put you to sleep with an avalanche of analytics or insult your fandom with brainless hot takes? Well, hi. I'm Dan Hansis.
And I'm Mark Sessler.
Oh, hi, Mark. And we're the hosts of Heed the Call, the NFL podcast you've been waiting your whole life for.
Heed the Call covers every game, every storyline, everything that matters, and we do it all with a touch of mirth.
Football is fun. Why shouldn't your football podcast be the same?
Follow and listen to Heed the Call NFL podcast wherever you get your podcast.
If you're looking for more NFL draft coverage, go subscribe and follow the Character Concerns podcast with Bink and Chris on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
A good Friday to all. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber here with you. Filling in for Bink tonight. 913-586-7965. That is the number for our text line. James Howell is alongside producing the program tonight. We are outside of football season. And it's not quite baseball season yet. We're sort of in this weird in-between area where we don't really have a lot of a tangible content to discuss, a lot of hypotheticals to get to. We'll talk some Chiefs, we'll talk some Royals, college basketball news, and some of the latest national storylines that are around. No guests lined up for tonight's show, so James, it's just you, myself, and our listeners here for the next 3 hours. And we begin tonight's program with the big news of the day, and that is that the Chiefs have officially announced the hiring of their new running backs coach is DeMarco Murray, former Oklahoma running back, spent, 7 or 8 years in the NFL? Most of that, I guess, shouldn't say most of it, but certainly the most notable of which was with the Dallas Cowboys, including that 2014 season where he was the Offensive Player of the Year. He went to one of his 3 Pro Bowls that same season. He led the league in rushing touchdowns. He was a first-team All-Pro selection. That was also the year that he helped me win my fantasy football league. So a shout-out to DeMarco Murray for that. The last couple of seasons, however, he's kind of been bouncing around as a running backs coach. He spent a year after his retirement at the University of Arizona and then spent 6 seasons at Oklahoma, his alma mater, and now the running backs coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. So it appears that for the most part, now there might be some senior assistants or analysts for offense or defense,
Sure.
those hirings that'll come out maybe a little bit later, but it appears for the most part like the Kansas City Chiefs have officially narrowed down who their head coaching staff is going to be moving forward. DeMarco Murray as the running backs coach, Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, Chad O'Shea is the new wide receivers coach for the Chiefs. He brings a ton of experience to that position group, something that I think the Chiefs desperately needed. They brought in Terry Braden Jr. as an assistant defensive line coach. He was actually with the Chiefs for all 3 Super Bowl runs in the previous years, left for a little while. Now he's back with the team. Nate Pagan is the offensive quality control coach. CJ Cox is a defensive quality control coach. So it seems to me like the coaching staff is pretty narrowed down at this point. Now it's a question of what does the roster construction look like, right? I personally, I have sort of been hit or miss with these coaching staff hires. I'm still not entirely sold on the idea of bringing Bieniemy back. I do understand. I'm sort of meh to that move. I see the positives. I also see some of the potential negatives of it in that, I wanted more guys from outside the building, guys that didn't have previous experience working with Andy and some of the other guys on this staff. And they did a good job of that in other places, right? I mean, DeMarco Murray obviously has no connection to Andy Reid. Chad O'Shea, same situation. Bringing in the quality control coaches on either side of the football. Those guys can come in with fresh new ideas, but they're not the ultimate decision makers in this process. They can come with their ideas, but for a Nate Pagan, an offensive quality control coach, to come to maybe DeMarco Murray with an idea and DeMarco Murray to bring that to Bieniemy and Bieniemy to bring that to Andy Reid, that's got to go through a lot of hands. And ultimately, do any of those guys have the power to really make Andy Reid listen in a given situation? I'm not entirely sold on that.
Yeah, it's like throwing a small pebble into a big pond, right? You're not going to get the ripple effect that you're necessarily looking for. They don't necessarily have the power to make some of those decisions or those calls. And I'm right there with you, like I was saying before. I'm not really sold on EB. I know that the production while he was here was good, and we did have a good offense in his time here, but I'm just tired of seeing the same guys come back and the whole retread factor. And I just wanted to see somebody that might have significant input and might be a little bit bigger of a rock than just a pebble, that can make more of an impact when it comes to bringing in fresh ideas.
It's going to be an interesting dynamic. I think that they brought in a great set of coaches from a developmental standpoint, right? I mean, especially at the running back and wide receiver position. That's been the biggest knock on this team for the last 3 years is you had a running backs coach who played wide receiver and a wide receivers coach who played running back. They'd never really coached the position before, let alone played it. And now you have written those wrongs by hiring guys that not only played the position that they coach, but also coach that position and have done so, I would argue, incredibly successfully. Like Chad O'Shea didn't play wide receiver, but the man has coached the wide receiver position for going on nearly 30 years. I mean, going back all the way to 1997 when he was the wide receivers coach at Houston. And since that point, he's coached the wide receivers position every single year since 2009. He bounced around as an offensive assistant, special teams coordinator, tight ends coach a little bit in there. but most of his coaching experience comes at the wide receiver spot. And a lot of that with the New England Patriots. From 2009 to 2018, he's credited with the development of guys like Julian Edelman, and, bringing Danny Amendola over from St. Louis and allowing him to flourish even more. Sure. Chris Hogan and some of those guys that they had there in New England. He got the best out of an aging Randy Moss when he first came to New England. Yeah. So I love it from that standpoint. And spent the last 6 years with the Cleveland Browns. Now, they didn't always have the best offense by any stretch of the imagination. I would argue that some of that was due to lackluster quarterback play or offensive line play at times, lack of a running back room. But, just look at what they did when they brought over Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. Most people had written him off. He worked with Jerry Jeudy and turned him into a 1,000-yard receiver. So the experience is most definitely there. And I think there's more talent in this Chiefs wide receiver room right now than there ever was during his time with the Cleveland Browns. So I'm hoping what he can do with an Xavier Worthy or potentially a Rashee Rice, depending on what happens with that situation off the field, which we won't get into. He has tools at his disposal and the chisel in his hand to do it, to sculpt those guys into something that we have been sorely waiting for in Kansas City. And with DeMarco Murray, this is a guy who not only played the position and played the position incredibly well, I might add. That 2014 season, 1,800 rushing yards, led the league, 13 rushing touchdowns. He was pretty effective in catching the ball out of the backfield during his career. 7 or 8 seasons in the NFL, he caught 300 passes out of the backfield as well. So he knows what it takes to be a 3-down back as a player, as a coach, because he spent the better part of the last 7 years as a running backs coach, both with Arizona and Oklahoma. I absolutely love that perspective of what those two guys can bring. Man, I hope that it clicks, and maybe that's enough, right? Maybe it wasn't, maybe that, that's something that we haven't necessarily discussed enough. Maybe the lack of offensive output for the Chiefs the last 2 or 3 seasons wasn't as much play calling necessarily as it was player development and, the ability to execute for some of these guys. And maybe that changes things, because when you had outstanding offensive play calling with outstanding offensive talent, you didn't seem predictable. Maybe that predictability comes in the form of they don't trust these guys. These guys haven't been brought along well enough to open things a little bit more in terms of just the X's and O's for this football team. I don't know. I'm trying to see this with more of a glass half full outlook, but I can't hide that I was still a little bit disappointed that it was Eric Bieniemy that you brought back to Kansas City. I wanted it to be somebody new, somebody that was sort of a hot commodity and came with fresh ideas. The Shieldhouse guy from the Rams, which, it sort of take that as what you will.
I wanted Cliff. I wanted Cliff Kingsbury. That's who it is. But I'm excited. Look, I'm excited looking at this coaching staff because it's an upgrade. Eric Bieniemy is an upgrade from Matt Nagy. DeMarco Murray is an upgrade at running backs coach. And the wide receivers coach is an upgrade with Chad O'Shea. So this is one thing that the Chiefs front office does really well is recognizing deficiencies and then attacking them in the offseason. And once again, that's exactly what we're seeing from them. There was a deficiency in that offense, and it's not Patrick Mahomes, it's not Travis Kelce, but maybe it's the development of some of these younger guys not being exactly where they needed to be. They recognized it. They took care of business. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm excited for Chad O'Shea to get in the room and work with these guys, see what he can do to bring along a young Jalen Royals from year 1 to year 2, right? There's a lot of questions in this wide receiver room outside of Royals, and then there's questions around him, but really Xavier Worthy, because you have the situation with Rashee Rice. Hollywood Brown's a free agent. Tyquan Thornton is going to be a free agent. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a free agent. So there's a lot that he's going to have to figure out. And for DeMarco Murray, he's walking into a situation where he's a new running backs coach leading a group that will look almost entirely different. I mean, I think Brashard Smith is the only running back that's going to be on this team next year that was on the team last year. Kareem Hunt, I don't believe will be back. Nate Taylor of ESPN said last week that Isaiah Pacheco will not be back, or most likely, it's probably a 99% chance that Isaiah Pacheco isn't back next year. So I'm looking at a situation where the Chiefs, in most likely speaking, will try to sign a free agent running back and draft a running back, a rookie. So it's going to be almost an entirely new group for DeMarco Murray to begin to work with. And I find that to be extremely exciting. 913-586-7965. A lot of messages in the text line early here. I want to take a look at as many of these as we can here to begin our program tonight. I got one from an 816, says, can't EB take fresh ideas from the Ben Johnson playbook? That is my hope. That is my utmost hope for Eric Bieniemy in this Chiefs offense, because Eric Bieniemy does have a unique perspective that no other coach in football has, in that he has worked with two of the most uniquely impressive offensive minds in modern day professional football. He's got that vast knowledge of Andy Reid's system from his days as a running backs coach, and then ultimately the offensive coordinator for this team on that first Super Bowl appearance, paired with being a play caller, the 1 year that he was with the Commanders. Now, it certainly didn't work out in his best interest and the best interest of the Commanders, certainly. He's got experience as a play caller at a UCLA, same situation. It didn't quite work out. Then he goes to the Bears, and he's the running backs coach, but he's working directly with the Bears OC and Ben Johnson, and really getting another unique perspective into the mindset of another offensive schematic genius. And so I hope that you're right. I really do think he can take those fresh ideas from, and I believe he will. He saw things that Ben Johnson did, during his time in Chicago. He saw things that he himself did as a play caller during his time in Washington and at UCLA, what worked, what didn't. And he can bring those experiences back to Kansas City with him to try to pair it, mold the two together, right? What he saw away from Kansas City with what he has in Kansas City that he's so knowledgeable in, obviously, knows it like the back of his hand. The question becomes, how much of it is Andy willing to retain and potentially implement into the offense? 913 says, in my opinion, we didn't have a schematic issue. It was a development and execution issue. I agree with the second part of what you're saying. I believe it was a mixed bag. I think it was a combination of the two. Now, maybe that was because of a lack of development and execution that Andy didn't feel like, or Matt Nagy didn't feel like they could use the entire repertoire, right? They couldn't bust open the latter pages of the playbook because they struggled so much with the initial executions every single week. But I feel like there was definitely a schematic issue, or maybe just a play calling issue. I mean, we screamed our heads off for the better part of 3 months for this team to use more under center, just single back style runs, because everything was out of the shotgun over and over, and it wasn't working. And as soon as we saw this team run the ball more effectively from under center, it seemed like things opened up a little bit. That was when your running game was at its best, right? I know I was one of the first ones to really start advocating for maybe Kareem Hunt is the lead back for this Chiefs team. Maybe he's the one that needs to get the bulk of the carries, even though I know he's 30 years old and yada, yada, yada. It just, Isaiah Pacheco didn't have it. He was an okay back, prior to the injury, but after the injury, he was never even that okay back anymore. He was never average or slightly above average. It was tough to watch. He didn't have the same level of explosiveness. It seemed like he was a little bit more timid in the hole. His vision suffered for it. So, yeah, I mean, certainly, I think that it goes both ways. If you're saying it was a schematic issue, I don't disagree with you. If you're saying it was a development and execution issue, also don't disagree with you. They are trying to solve both of those issues because I think they were both a problem. Love what they did for the most part in terms of the coaching staff. I'm not saying that Eric Bieniemy was a bad hire. I'm just saying the jury inside my head is still out. I have to see it in order to believe it. I have to see that things are going to be different and that it's not just going to be the echo chamber that I believe we saw for the majority of last season, where it was just Andy's way or the highway, and it just didn't click. 913-586-7965. We'll keep the conversation going here via our text line. A lot of messages from you guys. I want to see as many of them as I can here on the other side of the break. Logan Weber here alongside James Howell. You're listening to After Hours here on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
That sound? Yeah, that's not a good sign. Hey, it's Drew Brees. And when your car starts making noises like that, a big repair bill might be coming right at you. But with CarShield, you don't have to fear unexpected breakdowns. CarShield helps protect you from expensive auto repairs. I spent my career making tough calls, but this one is simple.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
At quarterback, calling the right play could change the whole game. And when your car breaks down, same idea. Make the right call before the big repair bill hits. CarShield helps protect you from expensive auto repairs. Plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, and rental car options, all to keep your drive alive. Look, breakdowns happen, but choosing CarShield, that's the easiest call you'll make all day.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Tonight, expect cloudy skies with a high chance of rain and a low of 48.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Staples has hot deals and low prices on everything for your business, like up to $125 off your print order. Ends 4/18. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mac Maury, and I wanted to let you know that I've started a new social media series called Mac's Minute. Real original, right? It gets released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our station's Instagram and Twitter accounts, plus YouTube Shorts. I'll give you my best take in 60 seconds on the biggest stories in sports and Kansas City. Make sure to follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Watch Mac's Minute every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our social media platforms. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
It appears by all accounts that the Kansas City Chiefs have finalized their coaching staff going into next season, officially announcing the hiring of DeMarco Murray as the running backs coach, along with Chad O'Shea at wide receiver, Eric Bieniemy as the OC, plus an offensive and defensive quality control coach, and bringing in an assistant defensive line coach who has previous experience under Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid with the Kansas City Chiefs. Taking a look at the text line, got a lot of messages thus far. Somebody says, Logan, let's hire Dante Hall as special teams coordinator. Listen, I love the human joystick as much as anyone, okay? When I was a kid, first Chiefs game I ever went to, by the way, this would have been 2004 maybe. My grandma took me. And we parked somewhere away from the stadium, and they had like the shuttle buses that would take you to and from Arrowhead. And we're on the bus, and we're getting off. They drop us off near the stadium. We get off the bus, and I thanked the bus driver. I couldn't have been more than maybe 6 or 7 years old. Unintentional. Stop it. Don't start that in the text line. Okay, it's 2026. We left that behind. And I thanked the bus driver. And the bus driver was suddenly shocked by the fact that I told him thank you for some reason. I have no idea. It was a noon game. Must have just been an early morning. People didn't feel like saying thank you. But I did, and he gave me a Dante Hall poster. So that was the first Chiefs poster I ever owned was a Dante Hall poster that I got from the shuttle driver for my first Chiefs game.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was a good day. We went, I think they were playing the Philadelphia Eagles, if I remember correctly. And that was Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb, those early Eagles teams with Brian Westbrook and those guys. Yeah. And pretty sure the Chiefs lost. I think that's fair to assume. And I remember it vividly. It's my favorite Chiefs game I've ever been to, even though they lost, for the Dante Hall poster, as well as, I can't believe I've gotten off into this story, but we're leaving the stadium, right? And, there at Arrowhead Stadium, you got like the little spiral sort of turnstile thing, the little spiral ramp that you go down. And we're leaving, and there was an Eagles fan walking down, and he had like this big, like his back looked huge for some reason, like big square back this guy had. And I'm like, I turned to my grandma and I'm like, what's wrong with that guy's back? And my grandma immediately recognizes what's happening. So she starts yelling. Another lady that was walking beside us that we did not know, complete stranger, also starts yelling. Security comes running down the ramp, tackles this guy. They pull it out. What's behind? He had taken a stadium seat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the screwdriver in his pocket. Like he had taken a screwdriver into the stadium somehow. Don't know how he managed to get it in. But he had literally taken a seat out of Arrowhead Stadium and was trying to smuggle it out after the game. So saw this guy get just absolutely bombarded by security down this ramp. And I was like, this is awesome. Being a Chiefs fan is fun. The best part of the whole thing is a Raiders fan.
Nice.
Yeah, don't know why a Raiders fan was at this Chiefs-Eagles game, but he was.
Made it so much sweeter.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, the hatred for the Raiders started very early for me, and it was kind of at that exact moment where it was like, I can't believe the Raiders aren't even playing today. Like, what are you doing? You're lame AF for that. For what? What did I do? Buddy was trying to steal a stadium seat. I didn't know. I was 6 years old. Come on, man. It's a theft. I'm not going to let a Raiders fan leave Arrowhead with Chiefs gear. I'm absolutely not. I knew at that age. I knew better.
I mean, he had to have a set of cojones on him to even attempt it.
I couldn't believe it, man. The last thing I thought would be in this guy's back was a stadium seat. Like, never thought that was possible. Guys, I once stole a very large sign from the stairwell at the Chiefs Stadium and still have it to this day. Wow. I've never really done stuff like that.
Bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, I remember one time in high school, like I went to a movie theater with my buddies, the B&B theater that's there in Liberty, closest movie theater to my house growing up. And that was right when Anchorman 2 was coming out. And so they had like the big cardboard cutout of Will Ferrell's Ron Burgundy character. And one of my buddies stole it and put it in the bed of his truck and had it. I don't know if he still has it, but he had it in his room like our whole time through high school. This random Ron Burgundy poster, that cardboard cutout that he stole from a movie theater. Made the right call there. Thank you. I thought it was the right call. I have a similar story myself with getting a poster randomly as a kid. Yeah. Used to get a lot of random memorabilia and stuff. I remember as a kid, the Royals were so bad. Like, they were so bad when I was a kid that the cops in my hometown, mind you, I grew up probably 40-ish minutes, 45-ish minutes from downtown. Usually took me right around 45 minutes to get to the stadium from my house growing up. The Royals were so bad that they used to give out like free packs of baseball cards to local police departments. And we would just be playing in like the front yard or the side lot of my grandma's house as a kid. And the cops would drive by, and I'll never forget Ollie. Shout out to Officer Ollie. He was the best, dude. He'd get out of his car and he would just hand us baseball cards. I had thousands of Royals baseball cards from the early to mid 2000s. It was fantastic. They were awful. And but you know, the high profile guy, I probably had 150 David DeJesus cards. That guy was my favorite when I was a kid. David DeJesus, Mike Sweeney, Joaquin Soria, the first time around in Kansas City. Johnny Damon was like towards the, like, hit late in his time with Kansas City, was sort of like, God, when was Johnny's last year with the Royals? 2000, 2001 maybe? 2000. Yeah, I was 2. Oh, so I missed out on Johnny Damon. Yeah, I was born in 98. So I missed out on Johnny Damon. I remember vaguely getting like Carlos Beltran in a couple of cards when I was real little, like 2002, 2003, like before I even like right as I was starting kindergarten. But mostly it was like DeJesus, Mike Sweeney, Joaquin Soria, early Zach Greinke before he got traded.
How about some Joe Randa? Did you get some Joe Randa cards, or is that before your time? Jermaine Dye, that was another one. A lot of Jermaine Dye during my time there. Oh man, I can remember getting like Ken Harvey baseball cards. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Ken Harvey was quite the pull at that point in my life. He was actually like decent from what I remember. Like he had like 1 year, I think like 2004 or 2005, where he hit like damn near 290. They were awful. The team won like 54 games or something ridiculous. But yeah, just like being a kid's. I got this really cool poster in North Korea once. I'm going to need you to tell me more of that story. Okay. What kind of poster was it? And secondly, maybe more importantly, what were you doing in North Korea? What year was this?
That's wild.
That's
North Korea.
Was playing hide and seek at a local church, and the cops showed up and we had a gun pulled on us. I'm sorry, what? The officer ended up giving us baseball cards. Okay. Well, that's how you escalate and then de-escalate a situation. Dear God. They gave out Royals and Chiefs cards back in the early 80s. See, they never gave us, like, they never handed out Chiefs cards from what I remember as a kid.
I never got the Chiefs cards.
No, because like when I was little, like that 03 to 06 period with Priest and Larry Johnson and Trent Green, Tony Gonzalez, you know, that offensive line with Neil Smith, Brian Waters, and Casey Wigman. I'll never forget Casey Wigman's name because he was an Iowa, like when I started to become an Iowa fan, like Casey Wigman was a big deal for me because he played for the Chiefs and was an Iowa guy. And yeah, they were decent at that point. So like I can sort of understand why they weren't handing out baseball cards for stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
like early
it's always
90s,
the Royals, never the Chiefs.
Early 90s, mid 90s, the Chiefs were decent. They just had so much trouble in the playoffs. You know, couldn't get past the first round. So yeah, no, we definitely didn't get the Chiefs cards, but I do remember getting the baseball cards from like local police officers, and I was down in like Raymore, you know, the Raymore area, so we got them down there as well. And now, you know, in hindsight, thinking the Royals were so bad that they had to give them out through the police force. That's kind of funny.
Dude, they were horrible, dude. They were so bad. Like I'm looking, just looking on Baseball Reference here, that 04 Royals team. It's the first time that was the first time I ever went to a Royals game was that 04 season. They were so bad. 58 and 104. Yep. Yeah, Ken Harvey hit 287. He was an all-star. I'm sorry, what? That was David DeJesus' rookie year where he hit 287. Joe Randa hit 287 that year. Tom Graffinino hit 260. Oh, my God. Angel Baroa.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Angel Baroa. Second base, shortstop, hit 262. Damn, the Royals actually hit really well. They hit 260 as a team. They won 58 games. Oh, God.
Yeah, go look at their pitching.
Oh, Daryl May, 9-19 with a 5.61. Brian Anderson, 6-12 with a 5.64. Jim Gobble, 9-8 with a 5.35. Mike Wood, 5.94 ERA. Zach Greinke, 3.97. That was his rookie year. He finished fourth in the voting that season. Oh, yeah, they had a team ERA of 5.16. Oh, wow. My God.
Yeah, you're not going to win many.
That's so bad. Oh, and then the next year they won 56 games. Oh, being a Royals fan as a child was not for the faint of heart. The crazy thing is they were so bad that the baseball cards were not even real baseball cards. Yeah, like the thing I remember is that like the biggest, like the most exciting part of like getting the Royals baseball cards was the pack of gum that came with it. Like you get like a couple of pieces of gum that came with the baseball cards. That was the best part. Absolutely the best part. Oh, I took the Kelsey bobblehead Bud Light beer tap at Applebee's at the bar. I felt so bad I took it back the next day. They laughed so hard. Damn. It's a hardened criminal right there. Took it back the next day is crazy. Oh, that's hilarious. I was also at that game, and it was my first. If I'm not mistaken, I thought Dante Hall returned to kick that game. I think he might have. Let me think. 2004 Chiefs-Eagles. I'm pretty sure that was, or was that 2005 maybe? God, I don't know. I mean, it was, yeah, like I said, I was like first or second grade. So, yeah, it had to have been the 05 season because they didn't play the Eagles in 04. So, yeah, it was 2005. Early game, October. Yep, so it was week 4. Chiefs were 2-1. They lost 31-37 against Philly. And looking at that game, let me try to find this box score. Yeah, I'm going off on a weird situation. Priest Holmes had 84 yards rushing and a score. Eddie Kinnison, 7 for 109 and a touchdown. Big Eddie Kinnison fan when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Dante Hall had a kickoff return for a touchdown that game. 96 yards. I thought I remembered that. Shout out you for pointing that one out for me. No wonder Greinke left. Yup. Holy. 3.97 ERA, and he had the best starting pitching ERA on the team by at least a full point. 3.97 is not elite. That's so bad. Oh, and hey, man, that worked out really, really well for the Royals because that Zach Greinke trade was what netted them Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, and Mike Moustakas. So shout out to Milwaukee for that fleece of a trade. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up. Stick around here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside James Howell. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty.
Wait, what?
Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Hey, Royals fans, it's Vern. It's February. You know what time it is. Spring training meant Royals baseball is back on 96.5 The Fan. I'll be down in Arizona with the boys in blue, joining all 3 shows throughout the week. I'll have my hot stove show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And if you can't be there and surprise with me, I'll post videos on 96.5 The Fan's social media accounts, so you don't even need to leave the couch to watch your favorite players in action. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, I got to correct myself. Mike Moustakas wasn't a part of that Greinke trade. I don't know why I thought he was. It wouldn't have even made sense because he was drafted in 2007. I don't know why I thought. Maybe because he ended up in Milwaukee at one point in his career that, like, he was a trade. Like, the Brewers traded a pick to Kansas City. Nope, because the trade went down in 2010 and Moose was drafted in 2007. So that was a complete swing and a miss on my part. Oh, trying to think of the Royals from when I was a kid is just, it's heartbreaking. God, they were bad. Ugh. Going down here, looking at some of the other text messages. Somebody says, Christmas Day game, a guy next to me in a Santa costume took the back of his seat home. It broke off during the game, so he slid it in his suit and walked out. You know, if it broke, you know, that's maybe a different thing. But I mean, this guy, like, I vividly remember as a little kid watching them pull a screwdriver out of this man's pocket. Like, this was premeditated. And he was wearing a Raiders jersey. I'm sorry. Raiders got a Raiders fan at Arrowhead for a game against the Eagles. And he has the audacity to try to steal a stadium seat. Nah. Not doing it. Talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the hirings, it leads us to what happens now, right? This Chiefs team has many, many more needs that need to have a fill, and it's going to be interesting to see how this Chiefs team navigates all the needs they have with limited salary cap room. I mean, right now they're $40 million in the hole. I mean, even with the salary cap bump that they're about to get, they are dead last in the NFL in salary cap room. They are well in the red right now. Now, there's things that they can do, obviously, and things they will do. I don't think we need to discuss Jawan Taylor getting cut, likely Mike Dana getting cut. You know, what more happens from there? I've seen people talking about the possibility of cutting Drew Tranquil. I don't necessarily hate that idea. You save somewhere between $6 and $8 million in doing that. But man, I've seen some wild thoughts thrown around. I've seen people bringing up trading Nick Bolton. I don't love that idea.
I'm not necessarily look. I'm not the biggest fan of Nick Bolton. I think his coverage is a liability.
Don't disagree.
So there's potential for an upgrade there. If they have plans to go draft somebody, maybe in the later rounds of this year's draft, or I don't know, maybe they have intentions of Drew Tranquill stepping in. I could see a trade for Nick Bolton.
The thing that stops me immediately is, and this is where some of the suggestions fall flat, in my opinion. You're trying to free up room to fill needs at specific position groups. And in the eyes of some people, the best solution for that is to create more holes. Like, as of right now, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you don't have a need at middle linebacker. By trading away Nick Bolton, you're immediately opening yourself up to a even greater liability at middle linebacker, potentially. I mean, yes, Nick Bolton's pass coverage leaves a lot to be desired. There is no arguing that point. Sure. He's one of the best tacklers in the National Football League. He is one of those, like, Nick Bolton is one of those dudes. He's like the middle linebacker equivalent of a guy shooting a corner three. Like those sharpshooters in college basketball and the NBA. Like one of those guys where as soon as he catches it and as soon as he is in a catch and shoot situation, the second the ball leaves his hand, you are so confident it's going in.
Yep.
That's the way I feel about Nick Bolton when he gets a hand on somebody. Oh, he's going down. I'm just so confident if Nick Bolton's in the area, that guy's not going to gain extra yardage. He is going to be tackled. Sure. That's the end of the play.
And that's incredibly valuable.
It's incredibly valuable for this Chiefs team. And if you're staring down the barrel of possibly cutting Drew Tranquill to save cap room, Leo Chenal's a free agent. It's not a foregone conclusion you're going to be able to re-sign him. And then you trade Nick Bolton. It's like you went from having 3 linebackers to quite possibly none. Are you confident enough in the guys that you currently have on the roster to be able to fill that? I like Jeffrey Bassa as a prospect. I think if you cut Drew Tranquill, keep Bolton, re-sign Leo Chenal, I would love to see what Jeffrey Bassa can do as that third linebacker. I think he's a Willie Gay type. Freak athlete. I don't mind that. So I just, again, and that's sort of where I stop myself when it comes to the trade Trent McDuffie conversation or the trade Chris Jones conversation, which is not going to happen. He's due way, way too much money. And so with McDuffie, if you can't get a first-round pick back in return, at least, it's not worth your time. I'm sorry, a second and a fifth-round pick for Trent McDuffie does not move the needle for me. It simply doesn't. You drafted him with a first-round pick. He's been a multi-time Pro Bowler, a multi-time All-Pro. He's one of the only guys in league history to get an All-Pro nod as both a slot corner and an outside corner. Yeah, he doesn't generate a ton of interceptions, but that's because he is one of the lowest targeted DBs in professional football over the course of his career. They simply just don't throw the ball his direction because he's so elite in coverage. He's always in the right position. You're already running the risk of losing Jalen Watson in free agency, unrestricted guy. Brian Cook is an unrestricted free agent. So you want to roll the dice on trading Trent McDuffie, and now you went from having 3 solid DBs to none? That's where I stop myself, because I don't mind these ideas on the surface, but when you think about, like, trading away Trent McDuffie doesn't create a guarantee that you're going to be able to re-sign Jalen Watson or Brian Cook. You might trade McDuffie, and those guys may still explore their options in free agency and sign somewhere else. And then you're really screwed. Noel Williams. Yeah, Noel Williams is solid. But you want Noel Williams is it? If you roll the dice and things go bad for you? I just don't know, man. There's certain decisions this Chiefs team can make that I believe will help them monetarily and not affect the bottom line. You cut Jawan Taylor, you keep Jalen Moore, you just save $20 million. It doesn't affect your bottom line. You cut Mike Dana, you save $8 million. Doesn't affect your bottom line. The guy hasn't been able to get to the quarterback with any kind of consistency in the last couple of seasons as it is. You cut Drew Tranquill and let Jeffrey Bossa become that third linebacker. Do I think that it does hurt you a little bit? Yes. But it's not a massive loss. It's not, it's not adding. You're not going to lose a game because of it, is I guess how I would describe it. You trade away Trent McDuffie without a guarantee of being able to sign Watson, Chenal, or Cook, or a combination of two of those three. You're really in a bad spot.
I would say that I would be more comfortable trading away McDuffie than I would Nick Bolton, just because of Brett Veach's history of finding good defensive backs. Doesn't guarantee anything. Doesn't guarantee that Noel Williams is the guy. It doesn't guarantee that we get Chenal or Cook because of it. But I would be more comfortable going that route than I would with like Nick Bolton.
Yeah. Someone in the text line said, I would like to see Drew Tranquill and Chenal stay. I'm not sure you can do both. I'm not totally convinced of that. I mean, you're $40 million in the hole right now. You cut Tranquill, you cut Dana, you cut Jawan Taylor, you save around $34 million in doing that. You then possibly cut Shamari Connor. You save another $4 or $5 million. That pushes you into that near $40 million mark. Possibly restructure Mahomes, and all of a sudden you're in a little bit better spot. I don't know. This offseason scares the hell out of me because there are so many questions in so many places. And I know that it's the easiest way to the easiest solutions to your current problem of the salary cap mess is trade away big name guys that earn big time money. But in doing that, you just create more problems that need more solutions. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up, including some college basketball news. We got a little Kansas City Royals to discuss, plus some free agent stuff for the Kansas City Chiefs. Rumors swirling, hypotheticals abound. Let's get into some of those when we come back. After Hours, Logan Weber alongside James Howell, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Couple of interesting points that have been brought up in the text line. Somebody said, so if we keep restructuring Mahomes, when does that actually hit? Because we're going to be screwed. That's the question I've been asking. You know, they keep restructuring his contract seemingly every single year. Now, there are a few subtle things that they can do to his salary, or, you know, to his contract, without just pushing off a huge amount of that money to later on in the deal. When you look at his signing bonuses and whatnot, right? They have converted a lot of money into workout bonuses, roster bonuses, signing bonuses, things of that nature. And it's been an added benefit for them, right? I mean, look at that 2022 year, the first year his new contract hit, his base salary was $1.5 million. His signing bonus was $2 million. They restructured $4.3. They gave him a roster bonus of $27.4 million. The next year, his roster bonus was $22.4 million. It's a ton of dead cap hit, or hard cap, but it's not a ton of salary cap hit. That is the problem next year, where his salary goes from $1.255 million, which is what it was this year, to $45.35 million next season. How much longer can you physically think about pushing it back? Barring you giving him another extension. His current contract expires when he's 36 years old. So I don't know what the solution is there. Outside of converting it more into a signing bonus or a roster bonus to circumvent the salary cap, it's a lot to talk about with that. Somebody else at 913 says, I'm telling you, if we sign McDuffie, we're going to be in the same place as we are with Chris Jones in a few years. Better to get rid of a player a couple of years early than a few years late. And that's fair, but you're talking about giving an extension to Trent McDuffie now when he's 26 years old versus when you gave Chris Jones this latest contract extension, the 5-year deal, when he was 30 years old. Playing a completely different position, a more physically demanding position in defensive tackle, defensive end, rather than DB. I don't necessarily agree completely with the idea of comparing an extension for a 26-year-old corner to a 30-year-old defensive tackle. I mean, the age itself is one thing, but the wear and tear on the body is a completely separate thing because, I think everybody would agree that Chris Jones has taken quite a bit more of a beating than Trent McDuffie has over the last few years.
It's really two completely different scenarios. You're just going to get more physical down in the trenches year in and year out, and throw on a couple years for Chris Jones, and it adds up to quite a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Wow, that's wild. Yeah, that story I said earlier that a guy saw a guy take a stadium seat because it broke, the back of it broke off, and so he just put it in his Santa suit and took it home with him. Apparently, Santa is in the building. Somebody in the text line just said I gotta find it. I am the guy he's talking about. I still have the seat at my house. That's awesome. It's awesome.
That is awesome.
The story just went full circle in the first hour of our show tonight. Fantastic. 913-586-7965 is our number. We'll get into some Chiefs free agent hypotheticals coming up, as well as some Kansas City Royals news and college basketball. All that's here. Stick around. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you alongside my producer tonight, James Howell. Here till 9 p.m. this evening. Stay with us on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-575-6879. 800-575-6879.
Football season is officially over, but the offseason is just beginning, and 96.5 The Fan will be there every step of the way. We'll have people at the Combine in Indianapolis. We'll be at Arrowhead during free agency. And yes, we'll be live in Pittsburgh for the NFL Draft in April. One of the biggest off-seasons in recent history is underway, and there's only one station you need to listen to, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Beyond the Pitch KC. New episodes on Wednesdays starting March 4th. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
With the coaching staff of the Kansas City Chiefs all but complete at this point, we now look ahead to the offseason. We spent some time talking about moves the Chiefs could make internally, trades, cuts, to try to free up some space because they've got needs that they have got to plug, holes to plug this offseason. Running back, defensive tackle, in my opinion, defensive end, possibly corner, safety by chance. Another wide receiver could be in the cards. And with that, you've got rumors circulating, right? I've seen on social media the last couple of days that there's reports of mutual interest between the Kansas City Chiefs and now former Jets running back Breece Hall. I think that the money in that situation is going to be very, very important. I don't love the idea of paying a running back $12 million a year. You know, if you could get Breece Hall on a 4-year, $40 million deal, 4 years, $36 million, I'm all for it. Guy that catches the ball out of the backfield. He can be a 3-down back. Other than his rookie year, injury issues, missed time hasn't been much of a factor for him. He's played in 43 of a possible, I shouldn't say 43. He's played in 49 of a possible 51 games in the last 3 years. So his availability is pretty strong. He has put up pretty good numbers despite running the football on a bad Jets team with poor offensive line play for the most part. I think Breece Hall would be a good fit. I think Kenneth Walker would be a better fit, but I don't think there's any way you're going to be able to pry him out of Seattle after the year that he had and the postseason run that he put together and a Super Bowl MVP as the cherry on top with Zach Charbonnet's injury, and you just won a Super Bowl. Why would you leave the team that you just won a Super Bowl with? So I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing that I saw, and I have to say I don't buy it, but I've seen people on social media, Chiefs fans for the most part, that are trying to advocate for some way, shape, or form for the Kansas City Chiefs to be able to afford Trey Hendrickson. Folks, I think that's a pipe dream, if I'm being completely honest. He's going to want $22 to $25 million a year.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. We'd have to have some serious restructuring of some contracts already in place for that to happen. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm looking at, you're paying Chris Jones, his cap hit next year is $44.85 million. Wow. George Karlaftis is $15.15 million. And then you think about the possibility of bringing over a Trey Hendrickson for potentially $25 million. Just going to pay $90 million to 3 guys on your defensive line. And Trey Hendrickson's a great talent, don't get me wrong, but I think it's fair to point out this is a guy who only played in 7 games last year because of injury issues and registered just 4 sacks. After back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons, I'll point that out, but...
Well, and let's also look at the Cincinnati Bengals and how much money they spent and the percentage of money they spent on offense. And it really screwed them because they had spent so much on one side of the ball that, I mean, you got to have a complete team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Trey Hendrickson would be an outstanding fit for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he would slot into Steve Spagnuolo's defense seamlessly. Him on one side, Karlaftis on the other, Chris Jones and possibly Omar Norman-Lott, another defensive tackle on the inside. It looks fantastic on paper. But that's a lot of money to shell out at the moment when you're already, as of right now, before the salary cap shifts, Spot Track has them $57.96 million, nearly $58 million in the hole right now for next year.
I mean, that's a lot of resources you could be using at other positions.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how everyone feels. I was satisfied with the defense's overall performance throughout the season. I'm not satisfied with the weapons that Mahomes has. I'm not satisfied with the running back group that we have. You know, I know that Travis Kelce is going to be leaving soon. I'd like to go get an offensive weapon there, maybe a David Njoku, something like that. So I just think that some of those resources would be better spent on the offensive side of the ball and keep getting Patrick Mahomes more and more weapons. Keep giving him gas. Keep giving him that, fuel to run that motor.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with all of it, certainly. But, I mean, the defense, the linebackers and the DBs, I thought played admirable football. The defensive line was the weakness of this Chiefs team. Offensively, defensively, as bad as the special teams was, certainly, especially with penalties and all the things, I still felt like the worst position group the Chiefs had last year was their defensive line. Chris Jones and George Karlaftis just eating double teams because nobody had any kind of fear whatsoever for who the Chiefs were going to throw to anybody else. I mean, nobody was losing sleep at night thinking about Mike Dana or Charles Omenihu coming off the edge or a rookie Ashton Gelati. They weren't quaking in their boots over Jerry Tillery and Derek Nottie playing 80% of the snaps on the interior. I agree with you that things need to be done on the offensive end of the football. I think that the moves they've made in terms of the coaching staff has been a big help for that. I have to believe the Chiefs are going to address the running back position. Brett Veach has already brought that up, that they need to do more at the running back spot. He has pointed that out. And people have at times spoken very negatively of Brett Veach. I don't necessarily agree with it. But there's one thing you can't knock Brett Veach for, and that is when he goes public and says, we need to fix this, it gets fixed. We've seen him do it twice with the offensive line. When after the Buccaneers Super Bowl, the offensive line's a problem, we're going to fix it. And that's what they did. And they rattled off 3 straight Super Bowl bursts, after that, winning 2 of them. Then they lose to the Eagles last year. The offensive line needs to get fixed. They draft Josh Simmons. They kick Kingsley Suamataia into left guard. They give Trey Smith the extension. They bring over Jalen Moore from the San Francisco 49ers. They fixed it. And I know there's people out there still, like right now, that are saying that the Chiefs need offensive line help. No, they don't. No, they don't. The offensive line needs to stay healthy. Okay, they don't need to put more capital into the offensive line. They've done more than enough there. More than enough. So, using more capital, especially in a draft like this where you have a limited number of picks on an offensive lineman, would be asinine, in my opinion. Your offensive line is already on the roster. Josh Simmons, Kingsley, Creed, Trey Smith, Jalen Moore at right tackle. If you want to use a mid to late round pick on another swing tackle, or maybe pick one up in free agency, like Andrew Wiley's going to be a free agent again, you want to bring him back over to be sort of that swing tackle or guard option for this Chiefs team, fine by me. Asa Pole played all right in the limited reps that he got. So I have a little bit more faith in him from a depth perspective. Offensive line is not something that you need to solve right now because it's pretty well contained. I would have no problem with the Chiefs looking at a wide receiver in this year's NFL draft.
I would love it. I want them to go wide receiver first round. And I know a lot of people want Jeremiah Love.
No.
But
I'm not one of them.
I'm not with it. The text line here from the 913 says you pay the running back and you draft edge rushers. The top 10 highest paid edge rushers make more than the number 1 highest paid running back. That's a good point. I thought that's a pretty good point, especially since we were talking about Breece Hall and Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point to be noted that, in order to sustain success in the NFL, teams have to be able to draft well. And that comes at high dollar positions like left tackle, like edge rushers and stuff like that. So I could get behind that notion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making this up. You want to talk about capital and things like that? Right now, Alvin Kamara is the highest paid running back in the NFL, $18 million. I would argue that's because the New Orleans Saints, if there's one thing the Saints know how to do, it is overpay somebody. They are so good at it. He makes $18 million a year. That's his AAV, highest paid running back in football. That is the same amount as Carl Granderson, also of the New Orleans Saints. He is the 18th highest paid edge rusher in football. The highest paid running back in football makes the same amount as the 18th highest paid edge rusher.
I think it's just the nature of the beast. Like, the running back shelf life is just so short that as a businessman, you really don't want to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah. That same scenario with wide receiver, Alvin Kamara, $18 million, highest paid running back. That's less than Terry McLaurin, who is the 17th highest paid wide receiver.
Wild.
I'm with you, and I'm with this person in the text line. You pay the running back, you draft edge rushers, you draft receivers.
Absolutely.
If Carnell Tate is there at 9, I'd take him all day. I'm not sure he will be. I just don't know. I mean, the mock drafts that I've seen, they're kind of all over the place, which I find incredibly interesting. Like looking at this one here from NFL.com, Mendoza won, obviously. Arvell Reese going second to the Jets. Spencer Fano from Utah going third. David Bailey fourth to the Titans. The tackle from Miami, that Magua, I'm not sure. Mauigua, I'm not sure how you pronounce that last name. I apologize. Fifth to the Giants. Caleb Downs going to the Browns. Jeremiah Love going seventh to the Commanders. That would be ideal for me. Let him go before the Chiefs pick. If he's still there when the Chiefs are there, I have a fear that they're going to take him. There is a fear in my heart that they'll take him. And I don't like the idea of drafting a running back in the first round, let alone with the 9th overall pick. Then they got Carnell Tate going 8th to the Saints, which would take him off the board. And the Chiefs going Reuben Bain, 9th overall. Mekhi Lemon going 13th and Jordan Tyson going 14th. So if Carnell Tate is gone, would you rather see them take Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson over potentially a Reuben Bain?
See, and this is something that the Chiefs do really well. I think they're putting themselves in a position to where they could take the best possible talent at the position. So I think that's the route you go. If it's a stretch to go get a wide receiver at that position, say like a Carnell Tate is already gone, then you got to pass it up. You got to take what's there.
I agree. And I think that the Chiefs, as long as they don't go running back, I don't think they can necessarily go wrong with their pick at number 9. Whether it's an edge rusher, whether it's a receiver. Personally, I really, really like Peter Woods from Clemson. I like the guy from Florida too. So this draft is going to be interesting. Say positions when you say draft names. Okay, Reuben Bain is an edge rusher from Miami. Apologize. Carnell Tate's a receiver from Ohio State. Same thing, Mekhi Lemon, receiver from USC. Jordan Tyson's a receiver from Arizona State?
I believe so.
Arizona State? Arizona, I think? No, Arizona State. Okay, I had it right the first time. No, Tate is the only one that's worth taking over an edge or tackle. As long as you mean defensive tackle.
And also, I think that wide receiver could very well be addressed in free agency. First off, I think Tyquan Thornton needs to come back. But there's a lot of free agent wide receivers. Listen to this list real quick. Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Deebo Samuel, Tutu Atwell, Jawan Jennings, Khalif Raymond, Rashid Shaheed. There's a lot of talent out there in free agency this year. Keenan Allen's going to be out there. Tim Patrick, Zay Jones.
I mean, there's some options there, certainly, and not overly expensive ones either. Like, I mean, what? Christian Kirk's going to be $4 or $5 million if you wanted to bring him over. You know, Rashid Shaheed. I'm not sure they could afford George Pickens.
Well, it says here 1.6 million was his previous AAV.
Right, because it was the end of his rookie deal.
Sure.
So, I mean, he's probably going to warrant somewhere between.
That's fair.
I mean, over $25 million a year, I
That's
think, is
fair.
what Pickens is going to get. Jawan Jennings, they're saying his AAV is around $22 million. Alec Pierce, $20. Rashid Shaheed's got it at $14 million is his average annual value.
A lot of options out there.
I mean, Mike Evans wouldn't be the worst option I've heard by any means. Keenan Allen, I mean, he's older, so he knows he's not going to warrant massive money, but he went to the Chargers this year and proved once again that he can be a pretty serviceable receiver. I mean, 81 catches for the Chargers last year. And you're potentially bringing him in, you know, for $6 or $8 million to be your wide receiver 3.
Yeah. And more importantly, he's got experience. He's like a player coach, is what I call those guys. Guys that can come in and, you know, kind of coach up some of these young guys, give them tips, tricks, similar to what Alex Smith did for Patrick Mahomes. You know, kind of what we all thought DeAndre Hopkins would provide.
Yeah, that sort of safety valve type, you know, where it doesn't always have to be Travis Kelce. And we still don't know what's happening there, right? Remember when we could have drafted Pickens, but instead we traded down and got Sky Moore and Darian Kennard?
Well, I shoved that memory deep.
Hindsight,
deep
down.
Yeah,
hindsight's 20/20 on that one. It is what it is, man. Absolutely is what it is. 913-586-7965 is our number. Let's get away from some Chiefs conversation. Let's talk Royals, okay? Because football season is behind us. Baseball season is in front of us. Let's talk about the boys in blue out at spring training, completing week 1 of pitchers and catchers. What more do we have to look forward to? That's next here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside James Howell. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. Right now, you can make entries and win money in Missouri, and playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. I love the Underdog app because it allows me to play with multiple sports, selections from different sports into one entry to see what I can do. So do yourself a favor now and download the app today and use the promo code BOB to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5 with promo code BOB. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 and over and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brenton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. We're excited to launch Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks. This is about Kansas City, not about soccer. Telling the story of how our town ended up hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, plus video clips on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
Subscribe to Beyond the Pitch KC on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the field of the Diamond, let's talk some Kansas City Royals. Couple of stories for KC. Number one, another free agent pitching signing for the Royals. One that I'm not sure is going to have a huge effect on the team this season, or actually, I guess a couple of them. Yesterday, the Royals traded for Mitch Spence from the Athletics, I should say. Spence last year with the A's was not great. He had a 3-6 record with a 5.1 ERA across 32 games, 8 of those starts. The previous year, he had a 4.58 ERA across 24 starts, 35 games that he appeared in with the A's. So I don't expect him to make a huge impact on this Royals team. The news today was the signing of relief pitcher John Means, who got his start in baseball with, I should say Major League Baseball, with the Baltimore Orioles. He was drafted in 2014 by the team and made his debut in 2018. In 2019, he was an all-star. He had a 12-11 record, a 3.6 ERA, and finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year voting. Last year, he was with the Guardians, but suffered a season-ending injury, never had a chance to pitch with the team. For his career, he's got a 3.68 ERA, but injuries have been the story with him. In the last 4 years, dating back to 2022, so 22, 23, 24, 25, across those 4 seasons, he's appeared in 10 games. Interesting story with John Means is that he's a Kansas guy. Born in Olathe, grew up in Gardner. He went to Gardner Edgerton High School. He's 32 years old now. He was a 2-year minor league deal that the Royals signed him to. We'll see what it turns out to be. For me, it just feels a lot more like depth for this Royals team. With that Spence trade that I mentioned from yesterday, in a corresponding move, Alec Marsh was put on the 60-day injured list. It sounds increasingly likely that he may miss all of next year, or all of this next season as well, which will mean 2 consecutive seasons that he will not play baseball. Missed all of last year with Tommy John. There is reports circulating now that he may very well miss all of this season as well, the former second-round pick of the Royals from back in 2019. I was waiting on this comment in the text line to bring this up. I got an 816 says, any chance we get Castellanos? And that's, in my opinion, not super likely. Of course, if you missed the news, the Phillies yesterday released outfielder Nick Castellanos after they were unable to find a trade partner for him. Later stories came out that he was benched from a game last year, or that he was benched last season after bringing a beer into the dugout during a game. Huh? I'm sorry. So he brought the beer in before he was benched? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm getting from this story? Castellanos was benched last season after he made what Phillies manager Rob Thompson described as an inappropriate comment after he was pulled for a defensive replacement in Miami. Castellanos said that communication with Thompson had been questionable, quote, at least in my experience.
So did he he got benched for a defensive replacement, and then he was just chilling out in the dugout with a beer?
Apparently, yeah. He must have gone into the clubhouse and came back out. He said, yeah, the direct quote is, after being taken out of a close ball game in front of my friends and family, I brought a Presidente into the dugout. I then sat right next to Rob and let him know that too much slack in some areas and too tight of restrictions in others was not conducive to us winning. Okay.
So he just clocked out, cracked a cold one, and then went full armchair quarterback.
I guess so. Castellanos, 34 years old. He has had some remarkable seasons in recent memory. You go back to that 2023 season where he hit the cover off the baseball. He hit 272, 29 homers, 106 ribbies. He was an all-star. But last year, still fairly, he was presentable at the plate. Hit 250, 17 homers, 72 RBIs. He had an OPS of around 694. He doesn't walk a ton, and he strikes out quite a bit. But as a run producer, I think he'd be an interesting fit for the Kansas City Royals. Where my biggest pause comes from is that, like, defensively, I don't see the fit. He's a right fielder. Point blank. Right fielder. You go back the last dating back to 2020, so the last 6 years, he has played exactly 3 games in left field. That's what the Royals need from him, potentially. And they've already got that in the form of Isaac Collins. I just, from an offensive standpoint, I get the pull. I get the appeal of Nick Castellanos with this Royals team. He can hit home runs, especially with these new dimensions at Kauffman. Drive-in runs. He's certainly a middle-of-the-order bat. I just don't know where the fit is defensively. It just creates more of a logjam, in my opinion. Because the Royals, and rightfully so, despite the fact that he struggled last year, they still have the utmost faith in what Jack Caglione can bring to the table. And he's probably your everyday right fielder. So you bring in Castellanos to be what? A platoon guy? That doesn't make any sense. You bring him in to be your DH? Well, what does that mean for the rotation at catcher? Because I think Carter Jensen, if he continues to play well, can solidify himself as the everyday catcher and allow Salvi to be the designated hitter for this Royals team. And if not, Salvi still catches every day. Carter Jensen's more of your DH. Or if Vinny needs a day off from the field, Salvi goes and plays first base, Carter Jensen catches, and Vinny DHs.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah,
there,
ton of flexibility there. You can have days where you might put Isaac Collins in right field or Lane Thomas in right field, and you allow for Cags to DH. I think it creates more of a logjam than it's worth, right? Yeah, somebody said another veteran presence. Sure. I don't think this team is hurting for a veteran presence. I mean, you've got Salvador Perez.
Yeah, Bobby.
Yeah, he's been around. Bobby's been around long enough.
Moose
Vinny's been around long enough. The pitching staff, the pitching staff's got plenty of veterans at this point with Lugo and Waka. Reagans has been around the block a time or two at this point. I think they're okay. You know, you brought in Lane Thomas to be another veteran voice for this Royals team too. I just...
And it's not exactly like the guy setting the greatest of examples.
Yeah.
You know, like I understand it is another veteran presence, but why do we bring these vets in there? So they could set examples and teach these young guys, and he's not doing that.
Somebody says Nick in right, Collins in center field, Jack Caglione in left field, bench Kyle Isbell. I don't understand why people hate on Kyle Isbell so much. I really don't understand it. He hit 250 last year. That's a respectable number. People don't like Kyle Isbell because he doesn't hit home runs. He is an outstanding center fielder.
He plays great defense.
I mean, he gets on base a decent 3-0. You know, he had a 301 OBP last year. I don't hate Kyle Isbell as much as some other people do. And frankly, from an offensive standpoint, I see where you're saying. Castellanos in right, Collins in center field, Jack Caglione in left field. Defensively, that outfield got so much worse. So much worse. I mean, Cag struggled to field in right. You put him in left field. I really don't like that idea. I like the idea of Collins in left field with Isbell in center field. It's going to be really tough to get extra base hits with those two guys out there. And then Cags in right field, a chance to keep him developing. The last thing I want to see is them move Jack Caglione to another new position. I mean, let the guy get comfortable. To draft a guy as a first baseman, move him to right field, put him in the big leagues in less than a year, and then the next year, despite all the struggles he had, now you're going to put him in left field? That's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Kyle Isbell hits just well enough and is elite with the glove in center field. Kyle Isbell deserves to be an everyday starter on this Royals team until he proves he can't. That's just what I've seen from Isbell in center field for the Royals. 913-586-7965 is our number. College basketball. KU with a huge win on Monday. Man, I was doing the show Monday night. We were talking about it. As soon as I saw Darren Peterson was listed as out, I was like, take Arizona at -5.5. Well, was I dead wrong on that one? I want to discuss that. I want to talk about another huge game for the Jayhawks tomorrow. Oh, the dumpster fire that is K-State men's basketball right now. We may discuss that, as well as what Mizzou's got on deck for tomorrow after a big win in their own right on Wednesday as well. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you alongside James Howell, my producer. This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Fellas, listen up. It's 2026, and this is going to be your best year yet when it comes to sex. You know why? Because you're finally going to take the advice and try chewable tablets from Blue Chew. Blue Chew's tablets help you feel and perform at your best, stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Be more confident where it counts. Blue Chew is a small chew for a big difference. You'll have flashbacks to your glory days, and day nights just got longer and better for everyone. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient for your individual prescription. Just like how we love to watch the athletes that we root for show up during the game's most exciting moments, you should be able to show up when it matters during life's most exciting moments. You can discover your options at BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use the promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just got to cover $5 for shipping. That's it. Go to BlueChew.com, use the promo code KFNZ, and get your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Kansas City, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch all your favorite shows right from your phone, computer, or tablet. Every day, we stream the shows live on YouTube, plus clips from the biggest moments and biggest guests. Hit that subscribe button so 96.5 The Fan goes right to the top of your feed. In your car, on your phone, or on your computer, we are everywhere. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, this is the last thing I'm going to say on this Royals outfield conversation. It seems to be a little split, maybe a little bit more pro Kyle Isbell than pro Castellanos in this scenario. Weird to me how it's turned into one versus the other in that situation, but I'm not a huge wins above replacement person. I think WAR is an incredibly skewed stat that doesn't always showcase the best or worst of a player for that matter. Like, Salvador Perez is the quintessential example that WAR isn't everything. I believe Salvador Perez is a Hall of Famer. I believe he will be when his career is done, and his career is not done yet. He's got a career WAR of 35. I mean, he hit 30 home runs and had 100 RBIs last year. Salvador Perez did. He had a wins above replacement of 0.4. What? How? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, he had a perfect fielding percentage last year behind the dish. What seems to be the problem with Salvador Perez, and why is his WAR a 0.4? I mean, that year he hit 48 home runs and had 121 ribbies. He had a WAR of 5.3. But when Aaron Judge puts those numbers together, he has a WAR of 10. I say all of that for those that are pro wins above replacement. If you're out there, Kyle Isbell last season had a WAR of 1.6, 255 batting average, 301 OBP. He's not a huge extra base guy. He only had 24, I guess, extra base hits, 16 doubles, 4 triples, and 4 homers. Doesn't steal a ton of bases, but he's a great center fielder. Nick Castellanos had a negative 0.8 WAR last year. So in terms of wins above replacement, Kyle Isbell was 2.4 points better than Nick Castellanos. But I get the appeal because Castellanos hits long balls. He hits home runs. He's a run producer, right? He drives in base runners. I just don't know. I don't think that the fit is there in Kansas City. I like the promise of what they have, right? That's maybe the best way to phrase it. I think the promise is there. Kyle Isbell played at a Gold Glove level last year. He's coming off of the best season of his career as a hitter. Somebody in the text line said that as much. You know, as Isbell's a Gold Glover, coming off his best season hitting. Agreed. He's in center field. Right field, the promise of Jack Caglione is there. I mean, he was the unluckiest player in baseball last season. When he makes contact, he makes loud contact. I am incredibly curious to see how the new dimensions of the ballpark affect his play. He's maybe a guy we haven't heard talked about enough in terms of the new dimensions at Kauffman. Because I can recall a lot of very loud outs from Cags last season. He hit what? 7 home runs with the Royals? With the new dimensions, if he's able to take the jump from year 1 to year 2, he could be really good, man. I'm telling you. He could shock people with the way he plays. And then in left field, I like Isaac Collins. I love the fit that he brings to the Kansas City Royals. Because even with the walls coming in and the height lowering, you know, he may hit a few more home runs. Isaac Collins is an extra base guy. 22 doubles last year, 3 triples. He can fly. And in the Brewers ballpark, it's not really an extra base hit sort of place. The outfield is still so wide at Kauffman Stadium that he's going to be able to generate a lot more extra base hits. I think he could potentially hit 25 to 30 doubles for the Royals this year. And then you got a guy like Lane Thomas that you can throw in there periodically for this Royals team. The promise of those 3 guys is good enough for me. Castellanos, yes, more of a proven commodity, but 34 years old, you know, there's weird scenarios with him, and I just think it creates too much of a logjam, both in the outfield and in terms of your designated hitter outlook. You can't be sitting there every day looking at your lineup card and thinking, okay, who's going to DH today? Is it going to be Castellanos? Is it going to be Salvi? Is it going to be Vinny? Is it going to be Carter Jensen? Is it going to be Cat? You can't have 5 guys sitting there trying to navigate who's going to play in the field and who's going to DH. And frankly, you're still going to have to pay Nick Castellanos a pretty decent salary. I just look at, I mean, he got cut for $20 million, right? He's not going to make that by any means, but somebody's still going to pay him, what, $10 or $12 million to come in and hit for them this year? Anything higher than $10 million makes him the third highest paid player on the team, behind Waka and Bobby Witt Jr. I don't necessarily love that idea. All right, let's talk college basketball. We'll do that next. KU, K-State, Mizzou. Big matchups this weekend, and one coach that is seemingly throwing every dart he can at the dartboard to keep his job, and it is not working. That's next. Logan Weber alongside James Howell. After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hi, I'm Lexi, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where we're all about you. Your style, your budget, your dream engagement ring. We'll take total care of you. First, come browse all the beautiful settings in our cases. Take your time and try on as many as you want. You'll know when you put your ring on. Your heart will skip a beat. Now, onto your center stone. We can look at different diamond shapes and sizes until we find the perfect match. Come visit us in store, because a friend wants you to get exactly what you want. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99. It includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600, or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Big weekend of college basketball here on both the Missouri and Kansas side. Starting with the Kansas Jayhawks. You know, it's funny, during the show Monday night, we were talking about the Arizona game in the lead up to it. And this was before they had announced that Darren Peterson was out because of the sickness. You know, I got a couple people on the text line that were saying, like, you know, this KU team feels like one that I'm not sure they can, you know, this feels like a team that'll underperform in the tournament. You know, they're playing their best basketball here at the end of the year, and then they lose in the round of 32. And I'm like, I think it's much more likely this team gets to the Elite Eight before it loses in the second round of the NCAA tournament. And then what happens? Darren Peterson out for the game. I saw the line move from Arizona at -2.5 to -5.5, and I took it. I'll be there, I'll put my hand up if you weren't listening to the show on Monday and admit I took Arizona at -5.5 when Darren Peterson was listed as out for the game. Boy, what a performance by the Kansas Jayhawks on Monday. First of all, I feel vindicated every time I watch Flory Badunga take the floor now. Because I said before the season started that I felt like Flory Badunga could have a breakout kind of year, like a Joel Embiid from his freshman to his sophomore year kind of season. Not necessarily to that level, like I wasn't expecting him to morph into a 20-10 guy and be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft by any means, but I thought Flory Badunga could go from a fairly solid freshman season to an all Big 12 defensive team kind of performer. And that is exactly what has happened. He's averaging 15 points a game, 9 rebounds. He's averaging nearly 3 blocks per night. And what did he do on Monday? Without Darren Peterson in the lineup, he was spectacular. 23 points, 8 of 11 from the floor. He knocked down 7 of his 9 free throws. That's been a knock against him for a while, is that he hasn't always been the most consistent free throw shooter. 10 rebounds to notch a double-double under his belt. 3 blocks. And mind you, of those 10 rebounds, 6 of them on the offensive glass. You look at the matchups between he and Bryson Tiller, another guy. The freshman is figuring it out at the exact right time for this KU team. 18 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks of his own. The Karchenkov kid for Arizona, 13 points, 14 shots. Inefficient, 6 of 14 from the floor because of the defense that Tiller and Flory Badunga were putting on the interior. And how about Koa Pete? This is somebody that they've been talking about as an All-American for this Arizona Wildcats team. 6 points, 2 of 11 shooting. And he made only 2 of his 4 free throws. What a night that those two guys had. And they had to. They had to put it together because Bryson Tiller, I know he had 6 assists, but somebody needs to tell Melvin Council Jr., hey, swing the rock. And just every once in a while, swing the rock around, okay? 25 shot attempts, Melvin, and you made 6? Buddy, slow down. Let somebody else touch the basketball. In fairness to him, a guy that he would throw the ball to quite a bit would be a Darren Peterson who didn't play, or Trey White, who had a disappointing game. He was 1 of 6 from the floor. He only scored 4 points. And Jayhawks really didn't get a lot from their bench. Marco Jackson played the most minutes off the bench, 22 of them. He scored 4 points. Jamari McDowell, though, played good basketball, 10 points in 35 minutes of action, 6 rebounds. But, man, they won this game because of the performances of Flory Badunga and Bryson Tiller. They were outstanding in that basketball game. So now they get ready for tomorrow. Another gauntlet of a game. This one on the road at Iowa State. Currently, the number 5 team in America. Jayhawks are actually holding on to a 1-game advantage in the conference standings right now. Jayhawks are 9-2 in the Big 12. Iowa State is 8-3. So right now, KU is the 3 seed in the Big 12 tournament if the season were to end today and they would begin tournament play. Just a game behind Houston and Arizona. Lest we forget about the last time that these two teams matched up. Iowa State got blown out by the Jayhawks. 84-63 in Lawrence. What can the Jayhawks do in Ames this go around? That's the question, man. That is the big question that is going to surround this game. Right now, they actually have Iowa State as a 7.5-point favorite. Wow. I can't say I saw that coming. Biggest question mark, is Darren Peterson going to be available for this game or not? 913 in the text line says their help defense and switches was incredibly impressive. It was almost as if not having Peterson playing the number one team made them play even harder. Yeah, I mean, maybe Arizona took their foot off the gas a little bit, knowing that Darren wasn't going to play. Maybe they thought it would be a little easier. And you're right. Maybe it did allow for those guys, those additional players at KU, Badunga and Tiller, to really batten down the hatches, so to speak. Sorry for the cliche. And come out with a little bit more of a fire and get themselves ready to go. Got to take a break, but we'll get to some K-State and Mizzou conversation coming up, as well as a little NBA. We don't talk a lot about it, but it's All-Star Weekend. I'm watching the Celebrity All-Star Game right now. It's a cast of characters for sure, but hey, man, the All-Star Game on Sunday might be the only All-Star game in professional sports I watched this year, and I'll tell you why. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour of After Hours. Logan Weber, James Howell, 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi there, I'm Charlie. And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC. If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help. Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting. Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team. He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days. He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises. Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision. Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800 894-7722.
Follow the Character Concerns podcast for more NFL draft content. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside my producer tonight, James Howell. Final 60 minutes of the program here on this Friday night, getting you set for some weekend action, college basketball, little Olympics along the way as well. Talked about KU Iowa State, this huge matchup in Ames on Saturday. A couple of other local teams in action as well. K-State, they're bad. Everybody knows it. And I think everybody should probably prepare for the worst potentially tomorrow afternoon as they go on the road and play number 3 ranked Houston. Cougars are 22-2. They are 10-1 in the Big 12. Houston is a 22.5 home court favorite in this game, in a conference game. I don't care what the argument is. I don't care how big the buyout is. I know how big it is. I don't care. Jerome Tang has got to go. Got to go. I mean, he's done everything but take responsibility for how poorly this team has performed this season. He's blamed the conference. He's blamed the NCAA. He's blamed the officials. He's blamed the rules. He's now blaming his players. He went off on a tirade after the game, talking about these guys don't deserve to wear the uniform. He said it was embarrassing. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. Dog, you're the one leading the team. Like, dear God, dude. You're the coach of the team. You put the roster together. If they're not playing well, it rests squarely on your shoulders, dog.
There's nothing worse than the leader of your organization or of your team having no accountability. It's just a virus. It's a cancer to the locker room.
Yeah.
It sets the example for all these young kids that, you know, they don't have to have accountability, and no wonder they're not growing.
It's
terrible.
This is without question. This is what happens, right? This is the storyline. This is the set of chain events that happens every single time a coach recognizes that his days are numbered. The second things start to go poorly, you start grasping at straws. You start, like I said earlier, throwing darts at the dartboard and hoping that you hit something. Keep putting the blame on other people and hope that you get to stick around. I've seen it. I can recall my time at working in Springfield before I made the move up here. I saw a similar situation with Missouri State's men's basketball coach, Dana Ford. They had a couple of decent years. They were towards the top of the valley, but they never quite got over that hump. They were never a team that was competing for a valley championship or a conference tournament title. They weren't going to make an NCAA tournament. And things started to unravel, and they started to play bad. And he started to get chippy with the media. He refused to do appearances. He wouldn't do post-game press conferences or post-game radio interviews. He would badmouth the players and opposing teams, and that's just it just seems to be what guys do in this situation. A head coach of a program trying to hold on for dear life and doing everything within their power to do so by simply not taking responsibility for their own shortcomings, but by trying to place those shortcomings onto other people. But how can you blame Tang when they keep switching the rules on him and his players suck, LOL? Everybody else, I mean, yeah, I get the premise, and he's making a joke, but yeah, like, it's the same rules that everybody else is playing under, dog. It's not our fault that you don't go after high school kids mostly. You just attack the transfer portal every year like you're a JUCO coach, and it's going to be crazy good, crazy bad. It's boom or bust when it comes to that. If your entire roster is made up of transfer portal guys instead of guys that you try to recruit into the program, it's going to blow up in your face more often than it isn't. That's exactly what's happened. I got a 785 saying, are you paying the buyout? Nope. It's an $18 million buyout. When's the last time K-State had to pay one? They haven't had to pay a buyout for a football coach, that's for sure. I think they can afford it. $18 million is not the end of the world, in my opinion. Not when it's just getting worse, man. Like, it would be one thing if there was a slight ray of hope at the end of this tunnel. But there isn't. Okay? He burst onto the scene, in 2022, his first year with the team after spending all those years as an assistant coach at Baylor. And they went 26-10, right? Got to the Elite Eight. Hey, there you go. The next year, 19-15. Made the NIT, you lost in the first round. Last season, 16-17. Didn't make any sort of postseason tournament. And now you're 10-14 this year. 1-10 in the Big 12. You're not hitting 16 wins. You're not hitting 14. Not defending Tang, but can they afford it, and who do you bring in? Yeah, I believe they can afford it. Who they bring in, that's a better question. But for me to start thinking about who they bring in, they got to fire him first. I haven't done enough digging because I have to wait. I'm waiting for them to make that decision. We say that about Jerome Tang, but if Andy Reid came out and blamed the officials, the NFL, the Chiefs organization, and players, we'd be laughing our asses off at it. Would we be laughing?
That's the difference, though. Andy Reid doesn't do that. He doesn't make excuses, and then when the time is right for accountability, he will tell everyone, that's my fault. I need to put them in a better position.
Yeah, it's just the mark of a head coach. Even when it isn't his fault, you take responsibility.
Absolutely.
You're at the head of this thing, and you may privately say those sorts of things. You may privately, in the locker room, address those scenarios with your players or with your fellow coaches or yada, yada, yada. But you don't go into a post-game press conference and do that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm sure that Andy has let his frustrations boil over and said
I'm
something.
sure.
But if you look at the majority of cases, he shoulders all the blame. It's not the player's fault. It's not the ref's fault. It's not the rules' fault. It's not the league's fault. He shoulders all the blame. And that's what great leaders do. Patrick Mahomes does the same exact thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, you're right. It's the mark of a good leader. No question about it. I agree Tang is talking like a fan, and when a coach does that, they got to go ASAP. Tang is crap, but still makes for good sports talk fodder. Yeah, fair point.
That's fair.
Yeah. Gave me a layup segment, that's for sure. They actually asked him in their local show about getting more high school players, and his exact response was, quote, yeah, we might look into that, but we want players that are actually going to stay. Your transfer portal guys aren't staying either. I'm watching a guy in Brendan Hawson who played at K-State, played good minutes at K-State, now playing at Iowa and barely playing at all. So
that's like picking up a girl and her having an affair with you, and then you getting into a relationship and thinking that she's going to be faithful to you. She already left the last guy. That makes no sense.
Tough, dude. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I really don't understand. Somebody in the text line says it's $15 million is the buyout this offseason, so they're waiting for that. That makes a little bit more sense. It's so bad, and it's just getting worse. And he's blaming everybody but himself right now. And that's, in my opinion, the mark of a bad leader. I said I went on a similar tirade about Todd Bowles a few months ago after that one of the Buccaneers losses where he went into the post-game press conference and started just berating his offense for how they played, as if his defense didn't give up 40. Like, you can't do that in a situation like you've lost them. I mean, obviously, Jerome Tang lost the locker room well before this. He's not going to. This is not the straw that broke the camel's back. This is the straw that. This was the X-ray that proved the camel's back was broken. Do we take KU money line tomorrow? Yeah. Iowa State at -7.5 with the way KU's playing ball right now. They may lose still, but to beat the number one team in the country, even though you were at home, without your best player, without the number one overall pick most likely in the NBA draft. Yeah, I can't not bet against KU at -7.5. I don't want to necessarily, KU money line's tough. I'd take KU in the points. -7.5. I'm not saying KU outright.
I think it's definitely going to be a close game.
Yeah.
And they definitely have the opportunity to win this one. So money line's tough. I'd take KU and 7.5 for sure.
I mean, you win this game, though, if you're KU. You get to 19-5. You're putting not one, but 2 top 5 wins under your belt in less than a week's span. You're currently the number 9 team in the country. So you're firmly on the 3 seed line, pressing up on the 2 seed line. You pair the Arizona win from Monday with potentially an Iowa State win on Saturday. People aren't talking about you as a 3 seed anymore. They're talking about you as a 2 seed for sure, possibly a 1 seed still, despite the fact that you have 5 losses. And let's think for a moment, okay? Shall we? Who are those 5 losses for KU? You lost to North Carolina on the road, second game of the year. Not a bad loss. You lost to Duke by 12, mind you, without Darren Peterson. You lost to UConn by 5, without Darren Peterson. You lost on the road to UCF. That's a bad loss. You lost on the road at West Virginia. That's also not a great loss, despite the fact that those 2 teams are bubble teams at the moment. You don't really have a bad loss on your schedule. You know, UCF and West Virginia are not great losses. Not that there ever is one, but they're not bad. It's not a quad 3 or a quad 4 or maybe even a quad 2 loss at that rate. With this Iowa State game coming up Saturday, you still have Houston at home on February 23rd, and on the 28th, you're on the road at Arizona. Outside of that, every other game on your schedule is incredibly, incredibly winnable. Oklahoma State on the road, winnable. Very much so. Cincinnati at home, absolutely a winnable game. Arizona State and K-State. Arizona State on the road, K-State at home. They are 2 of the worst teams in the Big 12. I think at worst you lose 7 games. And the way that this KU team's playing right now, I'm not sure I'd bet on them losing 2 of their last 7 or 8 games here. You've got something brewing, Jayhawk fans, I'm telling you. Don't prepare yourself for a loss in the round of 32, because I think this team is a hell of a lot better than that. 913-586-7965 is our number. We didn't even have a chance. We haven't talked about Mizzou yet. I want to do that. I want to talk about what Mizzou did on Wednesday, what they've got coming up on Saturday, because their March Madness situation is an interesting one. Despite how well they've played in conference in the SEC, could be a too little too late kind of scenario for the Tigers. 913-586-7965. Logan Weber here alongside my producer for tonight's show, James Howell. You're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Bretton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements: more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
You already listen to 96.5 The Fan, but are you following us? Our Instagram is loaded with show clips, breaking news, mock drafts, and content you can't get on the air, like Thy Royal Decree and Chiefs Take Tuesday. Go to Instagram, search for The Fan 965, and hit that follow button. If you don't do this immediately, Dusty has threatened to do a photo shoot in a bathing suit. Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
So, barring a miracle run from K-State, they're obviously not getting into the NCAA tournament. Barring a miracle collapse, KU will be in the NCAA tournament. That leaves the Missouri Tigers. They are a quagmire. They are a team that nobody can really put a finger on. Latest net rankings have them at number 57. Their big knock, they have a great, you just look at their record on paper, it's strong. No question about it, right? They're what, 17-7? 7-4 in the SEC? That's strong. But then you get into the details of the schedule, right? And that's where they lose people. They're 17-7, yes, but 11 of their 17 wins have come in quad 3 or quad 4 games. Nine quad 4 wins Over half your wins are against quad 4 opponents. You're going to lose people with that. Now, it's still right there in front of you. You're 7-4 in the SEC. You got a huge road win on Wednesday, a late victory against Texas A&M. You beat them by 86-85. Trent Pierce had a great game, 23 points on 10 of 15 shooting, along with 9 rebounds. Mark Mitchell wasn't super effective with his shooting, but his passing was spectacular. 8 assists in this game, along with 4 rebounds, 3 of them on the offensive glass. Sean Phillips was efficient. T.O. Barrett was efficient in this game. And Jacob Cruz, in limited shots, scored 11 points. 3 of 3 from the field, 3 of 3 at the free throw line. Also pulled down 5 boards himself. Good offensive performance for Mizzou. And that was their 3rd quad 1 win of the season, which is great. They're currently 3-3 in quad 2 games. So again, they are firmly on the bubble as things sit right now. I don't typically always look at Joe Lunardi and his bracketology, but just for argument's sake, that's what I'm looking at right now. And Mizzou is actually listed as the last team in by Joe Lunardi of ESPN. It's got to come down to what they have remaining on the schedule. No question about it. These last 7 games are going to make or break it for them. They've got 5 quad 1 games left. Vanderbilt next Wednesday. Next Saturday, they're on the road at Arkansas. Then on that following Tuesday, the 24th, it's at home against Tennessee. They have a road game on February 28th. That's a quad 2 game against Mississippi State, followed by on the road at Oklahoma and at home against Arkansas in the month of March, both quad 1 games. Tomorrow, it's a quad 2 game against Texas. Right now, Texas is another one of those teams sitting firmly in that bubble scenario. They are 15-9 this year. They're 6-5 in the SEC. Tigers are actually a 1.5 point favorite in this one. But Longhorns have won 3 straight. 2 of those at home, but they beat Oklahoma on the road by 10 about a week and a half ago. I think for Mizzou, you got to get a little bit more scoring from Mark Mitchell, or you've got to defend much better than you did against A&M. Okay, I don't know how often you can give up 85 points and expect to win basketball games. Mizzou was able to do that. They gave up 85. Aggies shot 50% from the floor and 45% at the three-point line. And the Tigers were still able to hold on and win this one, really, because they dominated the offensive glass. 16 offensive boards to 8 for A&M. They won the rebounding battle at plus 13. Added opportunities. They shot 7 more shots than A&M did. And they shot a better percentage from the floor, 54%, 35 of 65. They just weren't efficient at the three-point line, and they struggled at the free throw line, which has been a growing problem for them pretty much all season long. I mean, looking at, they got 2 guys on their team that shoot above 80% from the free throw line. T.O. Barrett at 83 and Jacob Cruz shoots just under 82%. Then it's Jaden Stone, 77%, followed by Trent Pierce, who plays limited with the injury issues, 69%. Sebastian Mack, 67%. Anthony Robinson, Mark Mitchell, and Javon Porter all shoot under 67% from the foul line. And Sean Phillips shoots 45% from the free throw line. They shoot 67% from the stripe as a team. For Mizzou to be successful, you have to be better defensively. And for the love of God, you got to knock down your free throws when you're given opportunities. They're free for a reason, man. And their schedule will indicate to you when they have lost it's been because of lack of efficiency on offense and poor defense, especially their most recent loss, that Alabama game a couple of weeks ago that they got blown out 90-64. That's horrific. And in that game, they shot 8 of 23 at the free throw line. Poor defense. You made 35% of your throws. Mizzou can still make the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't necessarily bet in that area. I wouldn't bet towards them making the NCAA tournament if it was me. But with 7 games left at 17-7, 21 wins, and you're a lock for the NCAA tournament. An absolute lock. Meaning Mizzou would have to win 4 of their last 7 games. Now, if you go 3-4 over this last 7, I think that there's still an argument for this Mizzou team to get in. 3-4 over your last 7 puts you at 10-8 in SEC play. You likely finish in the top half of the league. I think you might have to win a game or 2, possibly, in the SEC tournament to really fully punch your ticket. Mizzou's NCAA tournament chances are going to be very, very interesting to watch from here on out. Because the other 2 teams have more or less guaranteed themselves. No question in my mind. 913-586-7965 is our number. How about some NBA, maybe a little Winter Olympics to get things closed out here tonight? Stick around. After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, and we've partnered with Cupid to bring you the best Valentine's Day gifts, even if you forgot. We won't tell. From heart necklaces with sparkling diamonds to stylish gold hoops, every piece is made with love. Plus, there's still time to propose. We make it easy to create their dream engagement ring. We have meaningful gifts for every budget. It'll look like you've been planning this for months. Come see us in store or at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mac Maury, and I wanted to let you know that I've started a new social media series called Mac's Minute. Real original, right? It gets released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our station's Instagram and Twitter accounts, plus YouTube Shorts. I'll give you my best take in 60 seconds on the biggest stories in sports and Kansas City. Make sure to follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Watch Mac's Minute every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our social media platforms. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Got a report from Jeff Borzello of ESPN. Darren Peterson is, quote, good to go for tomorrow afternoon's game against Iowa State. The report initially came from Pete Thamel of ESPN. He missed the game, of course, on Monday with flu-like symptoms, that win against Arizona. But, I mean, it just keeps, it seems like he's either got the worst luck in the world or things are strange. Like hamstring issue, hip issue, groin issue, quad issue, sickness. Like, it's not quite like the Michael Porter Jr. or Kyrie where he just like missed the whole year because of injury thing, but it's weird, man. But by all accounts, it appears Darren Peterson will be ready to go. Came directly from Bill Self, who told Pete Thamel on Friday. So today. He's averaging 20 points a game, four rebounds, shooting almost 42% from the three-point line. God, I mean, KU is better when he's on the floor. Even despite the win against Arizona on Monday, as good as they played, I still think KU is a better basketball team when Darren Peterson is on the floor. I got somebody in our text line, 913-586-7965. 913 says, did you see the clip of the guy who won the bronze medal and then in his interview came out and begged for his girlfriend back after cheating on her? I haven't seen the video, but I have heard about it. I saw it on social media. It was like a Norwegian guy, right? Yeah, so apparently Norway's Sturla Holm Lagred, if I pronounce that right, I have absolutely no idea. He won the bronze medal in the 20-kilometer biathlon, and then used his post-interview race to reveal that he had cheated on his girlfriend. What? 6 months ago, I met the love of my life, the world's most beautiful, sweetest person. And 3 months ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life and cheated on her. Sometimes it's good to have thoughts that stay inside, you know? Like, I understand internal. You know, I can understand the guilt behind that. Like, you know, I don't know how I'm trying. Pause for a second, Logan. Just pause. Words are hard. Breathe. I can understand the frustration and the emotional pull of trying to make this grand romantic gesture. Dog, I don't think the moment after you win a bronze medal on national television is the time to be like, just be like, hey, I love my girlfriend and I want to have her back. Maybe we refrain from the whole, I cheated on her? Why?
That's crazy. How about hey, this one's for you, babe, and then leave it at that. Go talk to her behind closed doors. This is something I teach my 9-year-old. Internal thoughts.
Yeah, sometimes things just need to stay inside, okay? Sometimes it's okay to have secrets. Sometimes it is. This felt like a conversation you needed to have with her and not with...
Not the world.
Yeah, not with the patrons trying to enjoy the Olympics on TV. Apparently, the ex-girlfriend has now come out with a statement. She has responded, saying that it's, quote, hard to forgive him for his actions. Even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world, I did not choose to be put in this position, she says, and it hurts to have to be in it. We have had contact, and he is aware of my opinions on this. What in the hell? Yeah, and the best part of it is, like, his teammate won the gold medal in the same event. Another Norwegian won the gold medal. And nobody's talking about that. They're talking about his teammate, the guy who got bronze, because he decided to air out his dirty laundry in front of an international audience. Now, I hope I didn't ruin Johan's day. He said, quote, maybe it was really selfish of me to give that interview. I'm not really here mentally. That's incredibly evident, my guy. I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel for both of us and that she can still love me. Oh, just shut the hell up, dude. Shut up! Stop trying to make people feel bad for your dumb ass because you cheated. Like, that's the thing, man. There's nothing on earth that bothers me more than when cheaters try to gain the moral high ground in a situation, or like the oh woe is me.
Yeah, like, try to play the victim.
You're the one that couldn't keep your hands off of somebody who wasn't your significant other. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for you. Rotten hell.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad.
And you're an Olympic medalist. That's not like you have discipline. Like, have a little discipline in your personal life. Keep your hands off of people that they don't need to be on. I don't feel bad for them at all. This whole puppy dog charade, this woe is me, like you were saying. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely outrageous. And to take to national TV is just like, brother.
International.
No, not the moment. Not the moment. Current medal count at the Winter Olympics, on that note. Norway is atop the field with 8 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and 17 bronze. So they got the gold medal lead and the total medal lead. Italy's in second in both categories. Actually, they're tied for first with Norway in total medal count at 18, but they have 6 gold medals, 2 behind Norway. Third is the United States with 14 total medals, 4 golds, 7 silvers, and 3 bronze medals. One of the biggest storylines of today was Ilya Malinin, who is considered like the greatest figure skater in the world today, did not medal. He fell twice during his routine after he was the odds-on favorite to win the gold medal, did not come away with any kind of hardware, missed the podium entirely. You know, and better news for the U.S., the women's hockey team continues to dominate. They advanced to the semifinals after a 6-0 drubbing of the Italians. Through 5 games, the U.S. women's hockey team has outscored their opponents 26-1. Have I seen a second of it? No, I have not. I'm not a huge Olympics guy. And, like, especially, like, the Winter Olympics is it's a weird one for me. Like, what is it about the winter? Like, why are all their sports so dangerous? Like, why am I watching somebody on wooden slides go 80 miles an hour down a mountain? I'm sorry. What? Or like these people getting into, like, I saw somebody on social media. They called it like a scuttled former Soviet like satellite that they put wheels on. Like the bobsled thing. Just 4 adult human beings sprinting 100 meters or 50 meters and then jumping into this giant metal death tube and going 70 miles an hour down a sheet of ice. Who thought of these that were like, let's see just how close we can get to killing ourselves and make it interesting. Let's make it entertaining for the people.
Have you seen the
the
skeleton race?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're basically like on a mechanic's crawler. Racing down head first.
That's so good. I always used to say that it reminds me of, did you guys ever have the little scooters like in your elementary PE classroom where you'd sit on your butt with those little scooters, you know, eventually get your hand run over by one?
Yeah.
It's like a long version of that. Just basically a glorified skateboard. These guys are laying face first, 70 plus miles an hour down the ice.
With no control. All they do is lean one way or another.
And like a bicycle helmet on.
Yeah. It's insane.
At 70 miles an hour? Dude, that bicycle helmet better be made out of vibranium. Sorry, dude. I don't see it, man. It scares the hell out of me. I'm like, no, absolutely not. You know, give me my Summer Olympics. Give me let's just see how fast this guy can run or how fast this guy can run for a long period of time. Let's see the best of the best in basketball. How about a little sand volleyball along the way? Let's see. Let's see him go back and forth. A little front hand, backhand with tennis and ping pong. And the Winter Olympics is like, let's put together the most death-defying events that we could possibly think of. Let's put these people on skates. Let's put these people on snowboards. Let's put them on skis and just ask them to do completely ridiculous feats of human athleticism and hope they don't die. Okay. And in fairness, most of the time they don't die, right? Dude, that Lindsey Vonn clip was hard to watch.
Wasn't that brutal?
I mean, after watching the first one during training where she tore the ACL, and it's like, oh, that looked really bad. Like, completely torn ACL. Like, there's no way she's going to get back on top of that mountain and compete. Sure enough, she does. And, of course, like, it took place early in the morning, and I didn't see it until after the Super Bowl on Sunday when Mike Tirico was hosting from the field. I didn't see I just woke up yesterday morning and saw the report on my phone that she had been airlifted to a hospital after another crash during the event. And I'm like, what? She had a torn ACL. Why is she still competing? And like, airlifted, it must have been really serious. Well, then I watched it and I said, okay, it was really serious. Like, her leg basically exploded.
Yeah, at like 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour.
It really seems to me they had to airlift her out. Like, an ambulance isn't getting up the mountain to drive her to the hospital. Airlift was the only way to get her out of there. So it wasn't nearly as serious as you would immediately think when you hear the term airlifted. So that was good, but she's had, 3-4 surgeries on it already at this point to try to repair all the damage because it was a complete fracture.
Yeah.
It was horrific. Complex is what they said. Complex fracture.
Yeah, I think it's just about time for Lindsay to, turn skiing into a recreational sport.
I mean, she's the best ever at what she does, right? Did you see she's coming back? No way. Somebody in the text line just said she's coming back for the final round. No, you're lying to me. You have to be lying. Wasn't there already a final round? Wasn't that the round where that one woman won the gold medal?
Yeah, but didn't the other...
From what I've heard, she's just trying to go home because she had her 4th surgery on it already.
Yeah, I thought the other American won gold in that event.
Yeah, Johnson, I think.
Yeah, Breezy? Maybe?
Breezy Johnson, yeah. I think you're right, yes. Yeah, it was a brutal video to watch. And I remember thinking to myself after the game, the Patriots-Seahawks game was over with, this had already happened hours earlier in the day. There's no way they're about to show it again on national TV, like a replay of it. At least not without like a viewer discretion advised situation or something. Nope. Sure enough. Here's Lindsey Vonn going down the line, Hey, just a reminder, earlier during training, she blew her knee out. Here she goes. Oh, why did we have to see that again? We all knew it was going to happen. It's like watching a car crash and knowing the car crash was coming. And you're still not happy that you saw it. Okay, they were just kidding. Did you see she's coming back for the final round still? I'm just kidding. Thank God. I wouldn't put it past her. You're right, though. I mean, she has been the pinnacle of the sport at what she does. 4-time world champion, 8-time medalist, 2 golds, a gold medal in the Olympics. But I think it's time. I think it's time to hang it up, Lindsay. 41 years old, and you just had 4 leg surgeries in a week, less than a week.
At the rate you're going, you're going to be in a wheelchair at 50. You got to,
just got to, yeah.
I know you love the sport, but love yourself.
Step aside. Allow for the next generation to make their way across, okay? Like Breezy Johnson, who just won the Olympic gold.
For your own benefit.
Yeah, agreed. 913-586-7965. Let's take a break, come back, and wrap up the week here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside James Howell. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, Royals fans, it's Fern. It's February. You know what time it is. Spring training meant Royals baseball is back on 96.5 The Fan. I'll be down in Arizona with the boys in blue, joining all 3 shows throughout the week. I'll have my hot stove show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And if you can't be there and surprise with me, I'll post videos on 96.5 The Fan's social media accounts, so you don't even need to leave the couch to watch your favorite players in action. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Not very often do I consider talking about an all-star game of any kind in any sport, because in recent memory, they've been completely and utterly uneventful. But I want to shout out the NBA for understanding when somebody else does it better and implementing their own version, right? I'm not a hockey guy, but I can remember last year, a couple years ago now, when the NHL did their version of the All-Star Game, that 4-team, World Classic sort of tournament where they pitted different countries and nationalities against one another in that All-Star Game format, and it drew rave reviews, and ratings skyrocketed for the NHL All-Star Game because of it. Well, now the NBA is implementing their own unique version of that, where they are doing United States versus the world in the All-Star Game. They used to do that with like the rookies versus sophomores thing, like the rookie showcase game used to be like US versus the world. The way that this is shaping up, it's a 3-team round robin. The top 2 teams will face off in the quote-unquote championship of the All-Star Game. And it features 2 separate US teams versus Team World. The USA Stars with Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Jalen Duren, Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Johnson, coached by J.B. Bickerstaff of the Detroit Pistons. The USA Stripes, coached by Jaylen Brown, or I shouldn't say coached by Mitch Johnson of the Spurs, with Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson on the team, along with Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, LeBron, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, and Steph Curry's on the team, but it doesn't appear as if he's going to play. And then you've got the world team. Luka, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama leading the crew, along with Denny Avdia, Jamal Murray, Alperen Şengün, Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns. That's one people don't necessarily recognize all the time. Karl Anthony Towns, not from the United States. He was born in Edison, New Jersey, but he's actually Dominican. Yep. His mother is Dominican, grew up in Piscataway, New Jersey, and but he holds claim to his Dominican heritage, has played for the Dominican national team several times, so he'll be competing for Team World, as well as Norman Powell. Also, Giannis and SGA are on that team, but they're both injured and not expected to play. And they're going to be coached by Darko Rajakovic of the Toronto Raptors. So I think that's interesting. The games are going to start on Sunday. They're only going to be about an hour long, each game, less than that even. It'll start with the USA Stars, which is Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, and that team, against Team World. And then the Stripes team will play the winner of the USA Stars and Team World. Then they'll turn around and play the loser of that same first game. After that, it'll be TBD. Each team will play 2 games. They'll decide from those 2 games who's ultimately going to compete in the All-Star Championship game, which will be played the same night. It's interesting.
I think it's kind of awesome, man. I think too many of these All-Star games or Pro Bowls have kind of lost value because it used to be the best versus the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so now with this format, I think it's going to bring some of that competition back. We've got something to play for, and we're going to go back to seeing exactly that, where it's the best in the world versus the best of Team USA.
And the NHL got so much popular. I mean, their All-Star format, when they did that, was so popular. And really, basketball is the only other sport in the United States, I would argue, that could do that right now, right? Like, the NFL doesn't have that capability yet.
Sure.
I mean, Major League Baseball could, theoretically, but it's so absurdly international already right now.
Exactly.
That, you could break it up by teams of 4, maybe, where you did, like, the United States, you had, like, a Team Asia made up of Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese players, potentially. What you did with, like, Central and South America, though, would be kind of interesting. Where, like, you could do South America, I guess. You could make up, guys from Brazil or Venezuela, and then the Central American teams of the Dominican and Puerto Rico and Cuba and, those sorts of nations. I think they'd be the odds-on favorite more often than not. And then you could do like 6-inning games instead of 9 innings, or even a 5-inning format. Baseball could probably do it. They'd have to manufacture it a little bit better, because just doing Team USA versus the world, I think, really limits the pool of Major League Baseball. You'd have to break it up more so than that, or maybe have 2 international teams and 2 U.S. teams. I don't know, just in order to fit everybody in for baseball. The NFL, they can't.
Yeah, I think you would almost have to group up everyone in the North America, including like Canadian players as well.
Yeah.
In order for something like that to happen.
I agree. How about that? Another week down. What's the plan for you this weekend, James? Got anything?
Much.
No?
Not much. I'll probably take my son out, do a little football training.
Love
like
it.
I was telling you on break, we've got flag football season coming up. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to be in Iowa City tomorrow. My birthday is in a couple weeks, so my parents bought themselves, myself, my wife, and my younger brother. They got us tickets to the Iowa-Purdue game tomorrow afternoon,
Nice.
So should be a good one.
Nice.
Boilermakers are the 14th ranked team in the country. Iowa's 18-6, but they're coming off a loss against Maryland last time out, which was embarrassing. Hoping for a bounce back and a good birthday present. Should be a fun one. For my producer, James Howell, I'm Logan Weber. Thanks for joining us here tonight on After Hours. Thanks for getting involved in the text line as always. Back at it again on Monday here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks.